Welcome to Entonal Sessions. Today I've got my mate Hectagon with me, also known as Hector. I'm Elemental, and I'm also the creator of Entonal Studio. And today I want to take you through and show you something that I'm really fascinated by. It's a phenomenon called difference tones. And what difference tones are is when you've got certain intervals in like certain pure intervals, and what I mean by pure is where there's alignment in the harmonics of one or more notes when they're played together. And what a difference tone is something that happens in the ear, so it's not even the sound itself. It's just kind of like, as you said, what did you say, ghost tones? It's
like a psychoacoustic,
like a psychoacoustic effect. That's right. That is just happens in the ear, which is even more fascinating because it's sort of like literally like a ghost tone, as you said. So here, I'll show you what I've got here. I've got Entonal Studio with Pigments loaded. Can load that up. It takes a minute to load up. So we've got Pigments with a fairly simple sound. And I've actually got that running through Rift. So here it is without Rift. Quite a sort of simple organ-like sound. So those are just, I'm not playing any chords yet. I'm about to hit the chords. So that's what I've got set up. And I've used Rift just to bring, it really helps to bring out this difference tone effect.
Yeah, it sounds lovely as well. It's got a really nice character to the sound.
And it adds a bit of stereo movement as well. And I've got the spectrum analyzer in the oscilloscope just so we can see see as well as hear what's going on with the sound. And this is the scale I've got going on, and I've got there's a switch here to show the harmonics, and you can see from this scale that almost every spoke, apart from that 16/9, which I don't think I'm using, everything else is, all the other intervals are related to one of the nearby harmonics. It's just like the ladder of harmonics just goes up into infinity, but it's like the lower harmonics that are more like harmonic, if you like, to our ears. The higher up the harmonic, the more dissonant it sounds to us. The less. So let's hear how this sounds. So what I've got set up here is it's the 1/1 is set at our A at 440. I'm going to play a major chord. So straight away you can hear there's a crunch coming through. If I turn off Rift, just to compare that. So you can hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear this subtle crunch in the tone. Can you hear that?
Yeah, and there's also like a really interesting movement happening underneath, isn't there? That you can...
So the movement is actually because the tuning is not perfect. I think that's an interesting thing to compare now. If we switch to Simple Synth, which is our built-in synth, I can change the sound of that, be more sine wavy, because that's
very stable, isn't it?
That's super stable because it's built into Entonal Studio, so there's no pitch bend stuff going on. Whereas when we're using Pigments, it's using MPE pitch bend, which doesn't get us exactly on. It's close enough, but the tuning isn't exact. But this is, so that's why you can see on the spectrum there's almost no movement.
You can even see it on the oscilloscope as well.
Yeah,
like the waveform
it's
is
still
so stable.
It's completely still.
Right.
So let's switch back to Pigments, just because I really love the sound of it.
It's great. I love it as well. I use it all the time.
So I think... Okay, cool. So a little tangent there. Then we'll switch Rift back on. So you can hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear this subtle crunch in the tone. So you can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can still hear it's much more subtle there. You can Sometimes I like to see sometimes it's nice to see the relative intervals. So switch that on. So there, yeah, you can see what the individual intervals are. So we've got, that's a major third, minor third, major third. So it's a very stable chord we've got there. I'm normally a minor chord kind of guy. I've always been into like the dark side of electronic music. Very rarely used major chords unless it's a major 7. But when you get into the sound design like this, it's not, there's something about that. There's an extra sort of level to it.
Yes.
The sound of it, the crunch of it really excites me. And then even adding the 7 is, and then you can go up a level as well. Yeah.
I just love how it drifts. It's like super stable, but there's a little bit of drifting within it as well. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I really like that. And how does it compare to like the standard tuning? Like if the same chord with the standard tuning, how would that sound like?
Great question. Thank you, Hector. So if I switch to 12-tone equal temperament and play the same, I'm going to be playing the same chord.
Oh, wow.
Let's turn off the relative intervals now. It's mushy. It's smooth. It's got movement, which is kind of interesting, but it's lost that definition.
Yeah, it's weird, doesn't it?
It's like there isn't that tone isn't there anymore. And let's switch back to our scale. This one, whoops, not that one, this one. There it is again.
So
it's really satisfying. Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And there's another thing I wanted to mention here. So if I turn off the snapping and move this third down, that's going towards minor now. It's kind of like a minor third now.
Oh, it's amazing for drones. At points you can actually hear it, some kind of like a guitar. Interesting overtones happening there as you shift it.
Yeah. And you can play with the...
Wow. Yeah. You can hear where it emits, and then this point that just drifts ever so slightly.
Yeah.
There.
And around there is, somewhere around here is what some people might call the neutral third.
Right.
Which is...
What is it called a neutral third? Is it?
It's like in between a major and a minor.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, so you can, that's an interesting thing to experiment with, is like that place where it's not happy or sad, it's just in the middle.
Like somewhere...
It's kind of, our ears aren't used to it, so I think it sounds a bit weird at the beginning. So where was I?
Somewhere there.
Yeah, that's 16/5 is, that's your usual minor, but what I've got set up here, it's a more harmonic minor. The effect that we get here reminds me a lot of when I first got my modular synth a long time ago now, and I just had a couple of oscillators, and I was modulating the frequency of one oscillator with the other one, FM, and just for hours playing with making drones and
it's endless. Yeah,
it's endless, and it's really the kind of sounds you can get is very similar to this kind of effect. So I guess, maybe the FM happens in our ears or something when we're doing this. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you today. Thanks for being here with me today, Hector.
No worries, a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, pleasure. All right. Thanks, guys. Until next time. See you then.